Hey everybody, this is Tyler Stefan 200 here, latest updating news, and I haven't made a video relating to computer stuff for a good chunk of time, but I finally got a new desktop built. Right here is my new desktop. It's I call it the Screaming Demon. It's gonna be its nickname now. And you'll see why in a bit here, and hopefully I can resolve the issue. So, first off, I am in the process of moving. So as you can see here, this is a terrible setup, and that's my excuse. I'm moving. I mean, there's nothing else I can say about it, but this works for now until I can get moved and situated. Next up on the list, this machine, it's not done yet. And I'm missing some components, and that's one of the reasons why it's called the Screaming Demon. So I won't even go into stuff on this because as soon as I turn this thing on, you won't be able to hear me. It's pretty gnarly. So this machine, I built, and right now it has two Xeon. I've got two Xeon, what the hell? I got two Xeon E5620s. So I've got two quad-core, hyper-threaded, so I got, 8-thread CPUs in there at 2.4 gigahertz. So I have a total of 16 threads, 8 cores. Is it good? You know what? Considering that I got those two CPUs, 12 gigabytes of ECC memory, and the motherboard for $100, that's not bad. All in, free shipping. I got a power supply for $10, $10 for shipping, so really $20. And I got two Dell Precision T3500 heatsinks that I had to make custom, they're passive, so I had to make custom mounts for them. Because Precision machines from Dell are normally, although the newer ones are not as proprietary, they're still proprietary to the extent where, but I was able to adjust it so it was able to fit on the LGA 1366. What else? So in total, I only paid I really only paid 160, around that range. I have a couple of more components, but I'm not including them because they haven't arrived yet, or I had them laying around. The case is from a System X computer, obviously. I don't really know what System X is. It was a custom build manufacturer. I've seen a couple other machines, though. System X was a custom build manufacturer around my area, but it didn't last very long. But they made these cases, and I love these cases. Because these cases, I don't know if they were around my area. All I know is System X. You don't see them a lot. But I love these cases, though, because they're very large. Ooh, excuse me. They're very large for an ATX case. And for this reason, in this case, if you get the pun, I just made it, I kind of needed that. And here's the reason why. Here's the thing about LGA 1366 Xeons. They're dirt cheap. If you can get your hands on a dirt cheap Dual 1366 motherboard, I highly recommend it. Because the max CPU configuration for this motherboard will only run me about about $60 if you know how to play your cards right on eBay. And that includes having two 6-core hyper-threaded Xeons at 3.06 gigahertz. You're talking about having about 24 threads. 12 cores, 24 threads at 3.06 gigahertz for $40. You know what? Despite what people have to say, that's not bad at all. And if you can play your cards right, you can get them. But to be honest with you, this configuration is more than enough. I don't think I'll have a need to buy them anytime soon, although right now 1366 is at an all-time low, so I'm probably better off if I buy them now because I have a good feeling they're going to spike. Ignore this thing. This is the ISIS pipe bomb UPS because it lit on fire once. But it's long since been fixed. So I'm going to fire it up, and this runs off of an Intel S5500HC motherboard, which is a server board. It's hilarious because this exact board, they made a workstation counterpart. And the only difference being the workstation didn't have onboard video, but it had onboard audio. This has onboard video because server. It has integrated lights out management, but you need to connect a special little Ethernet connector onto the header, and I don't have that connector. So for the most part, it doesn't have it, which is kind of bullcrap, because true servers have lights out management. Workstation boards have dual Ethernet, and that's really just about it. I mean, they're pretty much meant for personalizing and upgrading on your own behalf, which I have. So, yeah. Now, because it's a server board, this is the thing that people need to know. Because it's a server board, I am missing a proper front panel connector. Yes, I have the front panel on this computer hooked up. But, you know, you need the front panel connector that is specified for the motherboard because it has the front case ambient temperature sensor. Now what those case sensors are is they stick at the front of the front panel just to check how much the temperature is in the room. And now I don't have that. And because it's a server board, it's going to ramp them up at max speed to protect the machine. And that's just generically how servers work. So you're going to experience excessively loud amounts of ear rape coming from this machine. And that's because I did put a bunch of server grade fans in here. These systems are not known for being very cool running, these Xeon 1366 systems. I'm sorry. So I want to make sure that it was running well. So another thing is it's going to take a good minute just for the damn board to post. Really, it's about 30 seconds. It has a lot to post because it checks all the thermal sensors. It checks everything. And it's a little annoying. Oh, that's irritating. Well, I will be right back. Graphics. You know what? 750 Ti. Not a problem. I know a lot of people are going to judge me saying that's an old video card. Yeah, 2012, 2013 old. But you know what? It has no problem doing the things that I do today, and I have no excuse to get a new one. And I don't have a reason to blow a good chunk of money, although the GeForce GTX cards are getting... the GTX 1050 cards and the 10 series is getting really cheap, so I might go for a 1080. And this power supply is a 750 watt. It's not a bad, it's a little EVGA power supply. It is semi-modular as well, so I can just plug in a bunch of PCIe connectors into this thing, and I could probably run a graphics card off of it, no problem. So that's good. I never had that before in my other systems. I didn't have semi-modular power supplies before, to be honest with you. I just ran with cheapos and even my custom builds that I did for other people. So this is my first time working with modular stuff, and big score. These things are well worth their money, and to be honest with you, they're not overrated. They are what people say they are. If you can get one for cheap, buy it. You have no excuse not to, and they're not bad at all for custom builds. That's number one. So number two is, we're going to fire this up, and you're not going to hear me. What the computer's going to do is it's going to check all the thermal sensors, and once it's going to check everything in the system. It's going to check the ECC memory, the error correcting stuff on the DIMMs, and then it's going to check all the temp sensors, and it's going to check for fans. It does have the required fans. It does not have the required front panel features, and that's why it's going to warp itself up. Like even these little Dell Optiplex machines have that front panel sensor. This one at least does. And these little Optiplex machines, when you remove that sensor, the CPU fan will go to max. Right now, this one's just running at max because it's just under a lot of load. So that's why that's going off. Now, so yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So I think I've described everything. I'm going to fire it up, and you're going to see that most of this thing is just post time. Again, this thing is notoriously loud. It's almost ridiculous. It's ludicrous. It's almost to the extent of unusable, so I need to really fix that. But, you know, I've never really had a machine prior to this with that much performance, but I've never had the joy of making my own dual socket LGA 1366, and these things got a lot of life in them. I mean, this computer, I haven't seen that CPU touch more than 70. I've seen it go to 60 once, and that's kind of saying a lot because I have many words to say about Windows 10 eating resources, because it does, and it's not very nice about it. But these CPUs just chew through it like it's nothing. And that's kind of ridiculous. It might be because I have a lot of threads, though. You know, multi-threading on Windows 10. Windows 10 loves that. My prior setup, it was an old Dell Precision T3400 that it's replacing. I just want something that can chew through rendering like it's nothing. And multi-threaded systems like this are very cheap. I mean, $160. I have a bunch of custom fan headers. I'm going to be putting more cooling methods into this because right now the RAM needs fans, and I don't have fans on the RAM, but I do have it jumped off, so it thinks there is. So that's not a problem. But I want to make sure this system gets the proper cooling that it deserves. Now, I digress. I've talked more enough in this video than than Joan Rivers ever has in her entire life. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and start the damn video. So again, this thing is pretty loud, and remember what I said about it posting, so, you know. Now it's going to check all the sensors. Remember, it takes a good chunk of time for the thing to go through all the different sensors. There we go, ear rape mode. Now it's going to take it a long time here. Server boards are very thorough about this stuff because, you know, in the actual environment where it's in a server and it's in a very heavy workload, an important workload task, it needs to be redundant. So it needs to check everything. And there we are. I've always wanted to have a motherboard that shows something like that on the boot screen. Now, booting into Windows is pretty fast, though, because I have an SSD in there. Nothing very big. It's only 128 gig SSD, but I do have about a little over a terabyte of hard drive space that I store things like documents and long-term storage, so it's not really a big problem. The SSD is pretty much just there for boot, and we're done. This is a good program for monitoring sensor information. I actually highly recommend it. And for this kind of a system, you kind of need it because I can't even use SpeedFan. SpeedFan throws a fit. There's so much onboard IMPI, or what is it? Yeah, IMPI data that it throws a fit. Alright, here's what we got. And no, it's not that kind of a new Xeon, the new Xeon logo. They're Westmeyer-based Xeon, so we're talking about first-gen Core i7 territory, so really kind of experimental Intel kind of crap. Still serves its purpose beautifully, though. There it is. And remember, we have two of them, so there's CPU 0 and there's CPU 1. So here's what we got for central processors. Ta-da! Oh man, that is such an amazing sight. They're both identical. You need to have identical CPUs for this. So it's Westmeyer EP. That's enterprise-based Westmeyer stuff. So they're pretty generic, to be honest with you. What was I doing? Oh yeah. So here we go. So here's my build. I have Windows 10 Pro for workstations. You kind of need it. I don't know how Windows 10 Pro handles dual systems, but I've always installed Windows 10 Pro for workstations on my main builds because, or on systems like this, I've only installed this on my main build once, so. Here you go. So, I like how Intel pops up with double processors right there. 4 cores, 8 logical, it says 8 logical cores. That means it has 8 threads. They're not actually, you know, cores, so. It's not 16 cores. Chill out, everyone. I'm not going to be one of those dickbags who goes around and brags about something that doesn't exist. You know, it's all legacy Xeon stuff, but you know what? It runs nothing, like, it runs everything like it's nothing. I have no problem with this. It's not done yet. I got to get that fan situation fixed. As soon as I get that front panel sensor, we will no longer have takeoff. Next thing, and then we won't have to deal with the 747 taking off. That's ridiculous. I hate this out of it. And the one thing that's really cool is in Task Manager, you see it spikes up there really quickly, but look. That's on startup. I still got stuff starting up now. But just sitting there idle, the CPUs, because here's the thing about these modern systems, or this is somewhat modern, but it's modern enough for the for Windows 10 to make use of enhanced speed step. Although right now it doesn't really care. I think I have it sit on Prius repellent mode, so that's why the CPUs are clocked up pretty high no matter what. A fun fact about this: you want to hear something really awesome? On this motherboard, it actually has a feature that allows, because speeds are a turbo boost. These do have turbo boost. It's first gen. It's not really the greatest. The multipliers are only maybe 2x higher than the standard 18 that is set for the base speed. But it's, that's like a full 600 megahertz more, I believe. If I remember correctly, you get about 600 megahertz. I don't know what the max turbo is on these chips. I'll have to look it up, and I'll correct myself in this video while I'm editing. So you probably see a disclaimer. But I think the max on this is either 2.50, so really you only get a max of 100 megahertz boost. But that's 100 megahertz you didn't have. And now, turbo boost doesn't kick on permanently. When it's running... So here's what's really cool about this is, as you can see here, that I love this. This motherboard supplies information that most don't. So apparently here's the board. Again, it's an S55HC class motherboard. If you want the exact number, it's an HCR or S5520 HCR. Alright, load it in here. As you can see, it's, well, beyond playable. If I look here around, this is smooth. I mean, $160 Xeon gaming rig. I mean, this is not bad. See, look at this. I mean, obviously, there's not a lot of detailed stuff going around because it's like a hazy morning in Grand Theft Auto, but, like, I want to show you the settings, though. I know it's not impressive, but for this video card, I just want to show people that this video card has nothing to hold it back anymore. Yes, I am exceeding the video memory. Thank God GTA allows me to ignore the suggested limits. There's nothing big right here, but if you go down here, this is where the big stuff comes in. I don't have a good that's the only thing down, but look at this. This is not bad. For a 750, you'll notice here when I get back in the game, there's our GPU performance. It spikes up, of course. Well, you'll notice here that the GPU is clocking itself up. Like, hold up. Alt-Tab. You can see if it's still... Yeah, 100% here. Hold up. Go down to... Here's our GPU usage. Where's our GPU frequency? Here's our core clock on our GPU. Look at this. That's not bad. We're talking 1.4 gigahertz for a fucking 750 Ti. That's insanity. I mean, most people don't think it is. And almost 3 gigahertz for the memory clock. That's insanity. And it's doing it no problem. These cards are still very usable, guys. I'm telling you. As long as you have a card with a decent cooler, and I recommend getting the MSI PCB, because the thing about the MSI PCB is that you can solder a 6-pin power connector on it, and it will work. And you can actually gain a lot of performance from that, because if your motherboard cannot supply proper wattage over that PCIe lane, you're going to have a bad time. I'm lucky enough that I went ahead and soldered that, but this machine, if I ran it without it, it wouldn't give me a problem. I'm pretty sure it could run just fine without it. Not bad though, see? This is quite playable. It's clearing up out here. Look at that. But the shadows are not bad either, see? You know, I know what people have to say about this system, but I'll make a video on what you can do to build these systems, because I'm probably going to start making these systems for people now. Now that I have a down feel on how this is. Not a bad computer, and it's going to render this video like it's nothing. So it was nice talking to y'all, or all of you, I should say. And I know that a lot of people are probably getting annoyed because this video is excessively long, no explanations, and whatnot, but there you go. So I am going to shut this off. Oh, I do need to show you something hilarious. Want to see sleep mode? That's sleep mode. It's running on S1 sleep, which is a very old version of sleep mode. What that does is it shuts the hard drives off. Maybe some processor functions. Well, that's about it. It still screams. Again, server motherboard, you're not going to have that luxury. So, I don't really care though. The system really picks up and goes from where I left off quite fast, so hibernation is still an option and it's not a bad one. Anyhow, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you have a nice day. If you find this interesting, comment, rate, and subscribe. If you'd like to see a video of one of these systems and how much they cost to build, let me know. Or if you want me to continue this video, extend any video portions, or show this machine when it's completely 100% done in the future, let me know. Oh my god, Bliss. Holy crap. I do need to fix that though. That's pretty gnarly. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for watching.